This $2+ trillion asset class is truly global. It has no borders, no boundaries, operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I believe it's an innovation that has and could continue to be a catalyst for change in the fields of finance and money. But while I'm technology neutral, I'm anything but public policy neutral. As new technologies come along, we need to be sure they're achieving core public policy goals. And further, for them, I'm neutral, but if you want to encourage that innovation, I'd like to note that financial innovations throughout history don't thrive outside the public policy framework. They just don't last that long unless we bring them inside. What does that mean? Protecting investors and consumers, guarding against illicit activity, and ensuring financial stability. That's what your committee is debating all month long and all year long, usually. So there's much I'll leave to your questions, but there's two areas in crypto I want to mention. First, we're focused very much on the platforms, whether it's a trading platform or a lending platform. The bulk of the market activity takes place on these platforms, whether they're centralized or so-called decentralized. But unlike traditional finance like the Frankfurt Stock Exchange and the like, crypto platforms provide direct access for the millions of investors. You see, there's not a broker in between the public and the platform. That's an innovation in itself. But therefore, absent that broker in the middle, it's really the platform's the best place to put investor protection obligations, guarding against illicit activity obligations, and the like. Also, the public's left vulnerable without those protections. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of fraud, scams, and abuse in the field. The second thing I want to mention is something called stablecoins. Now, you've all heard about Facebook's effort to stand up something called Diem or earlier Libra, but there already exists about $116 billion of stablecoins. Now, who are they? What are they? They're embedded in these trading and lending platforms and have been for 7 or 8 years. And these stablecoins make up about 3/4 of the trading on all crypto trading platforms. So it's Bitcoin versus a stablecoin rather than Bitcoin versus euro or dollar or yen traditionally. So they're embedded, and you might say, well, why did that happen over the last 7 years? I believe in part this was to facilitate those who wanted to seek and sidestep a host of public policy goals.
Welcome back to Crash and Eddie. Folks, it's been a while. We got a good show today. We're going to talk a little bit about NFTs. We had to lead off with Crash's favorite gentleman in the space, Gary Gensler, who's running a crooked SEC right now. And we're going to talk about Ethereum a little bit, and we got some good stuff going on. Sorry, it's been a while, but we do have Crash with us today. What's going on, Crash?
Hey, welcome, everybody. Glad to be back.
What is
Seems
going
like,
on in the market?
Go ahead, Eddie.
Right away, man. Immediately.
Just like we talked about, don't walk on each other. I got this delayed echo. I don't know where I'm at.
We got a few technical difficulties today, people. I know you'd have it no other way, though, correct?
Yeah, that's what makes it interesting.
So, okay. Let's go over some market stuff. I'll tell you what I see. Bitcoin right around 50,000. It did get over 50 today. Cardano was up over 3. It's pulling back a little bit, the whole market, but we're at about 2.2 trillion. A lot of altcoins are moving now. Bitcoin, I see the Bitcoin dominance is at about 41. A lot of people are thinking it's going to go down to 20 or 10%. I don't know. We'll see. Crash, what are you seeing out there?
Well, that's an interesting thing to talk about because I know in my own portfolio, the top holdings have been flipping the last couple weeks here with ADA and Cardano really just going crazy. I mean, it's up 2,461% in the last year.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I remember
I
when that
mean,
was at 2 cents.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll be surprised if it doesn't get into the $6 range here in the next month or two.
Yeah, we'll see what the market does. I mean, one thing I will say, folks, is believe it or not, the train has still not left the station. They're still boarding people. I mean, I talk to people all the time. People are just completely oblivious to what's going on in the financial world, period. I see it still to this day.
Yeah, it's still very, very early. I mean, if you think you missed the boat, yeah, the boat is still loading.
Yeah, this is a decades long trend. This is not, I mean, you're redoing an entire financial system, so and so much is just coming out, and I mean, like NFTs and DeFi. I mean, we don't know where this is going, but the opportunity, it's just mind-boggling, really. Literally.
It is. It's gonna the world in 5 years is gonna look so completely different. It's and it can be in a very good way, or it's going to be just like anything else. There's going to be elements in the light and elements in the dark, and we got to weed our way through it. And getting educated on it now, it's going to give you the eyes to see and the ears to hear. So I encourage everybody to not just buy and hold, but buy and listen, and buy and learn. You got to start learning about this stuff, or you're going to be left behind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about learning and growing. And on this channel, we're going to be on the light side. So we're going to show you the truth as much as we can. And by the way, hit the like and subscribe. Drop us a comment. We're gonna produce as much relevant content as we can, as often as we can. This is neither one of our full-time jobs, so we're wiggling it in, but to try and help people out. So we'll do the best we can on that.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is not financial advice. This is for educational and entertainment purposes.
Yep. So, yeah, we can go on and on.
Let's get into some entertainment.
Yeah, right. So we can go on and on about the markets. DeFi is heating up. A lot of alts are starting to heat up too. So we'll see where stuff goes. But let's get into a little bit of content. You got one you wanted to bring to our attention, right, Crash?
The Michael Saylor video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm just looking at the top 10 cryptocurrencies. This Solana is another one that has just been amazing. It's up 3,000% in the last year, 67% in the last 7 days, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be slowing down. It was flipped. It had a higher market cap than Dogecoin recently, but it looks like it flipped back. See, market cap, yeah, one is at 38 billion, one is and Solana's at 36 billion.
Yeah, that one's going to be in the thousands, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. And Solana's one of those too. There's a few coins, probably less than 10 or about 10 or maybe a little more, that are going to make it. The regulators, which we're going through now, a lot of regulation. It's in Congress, all that's going on, and they're going to be the ultimate deciders. They have already decided on certain coins that are going to make it, period. So those are the ones I'm looking at. I know Solana is one of those. And a lot of the ones that we're looking at and emphasizing, that's the ones, because there's a lot that are questionable.
Yeah, I'm just looking down this list, like Matic, which is Polygon, and VeChain. VeChain's only up 800% in the last year, and it should be up, at least 3,000 probably. That's one that I would recommend everybody have in their portfolio. It's enormous.
No financial advice, but yeah, that one. The only thing about that is it's Chinese. I mean, you're definitely in with the Chinese government 100% with that one, but more and more of this stuff is just globalized, and that's was part of what Gensler said, and he just admitted, and that's what this is. These are global. This is a global game now. So that's why you can also have so many more tokens, and it's totally different from a stock because it's not just your 350 million people in the US. There's billions of people, and this is too about banking the unbanked. We're bringing billions of people now into the financial system with cryptos.
Yep.
So let's hit that video real quick.
Okay.
Well, everything I thought I was going to get from gold is going to Bitcoin. And so if I basically invested half my portfolio in gold and half in Bitcoin, half the portfolio works, half doesn't work. And if I have 75% in gold and 25% in Bitcoin, or 98% in gold and 2% in Bitcoin, well, 2% works, 98% doesn't work. I think that the only reason that people haven't sold all their monetary gold and bought Bitcoin is ignorance, fear, uncertainty. Like as the fear, uncertainty, and doubt disappears, then it seems pretty obvious that the $10 trillion that's sitting in gold should that energy should drain into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin should grow at least to the monetary value of gold and then beyond, because the reasons people buy gold are they want a hard to debase store of value. And Bitcoin is everything that gold is, but better. And so the only people that are holding gold are people that just don't understand Bitcoin, or they don't trust. They don't trust it because it's new. So there's a generational change. As generations change, they'll start to trust it. And then there's an educational component. But you can see right now, if you go back 6 months and look at the price of gold 6 months ago versus today, it's gone nowhere. And go back 6 months, look at the price of Bitcoin versus today. It's up by like nearly a factor of 4. And so at some point, the price becomes the educator, right? The educational catalyst. And all of the hedge funds that are holding gold and Bitcoin, they're holding gold because they want a store of value against currency debasement and uncertainty.
Yeah, that was good. We could probably play more of that, but we don't want to bore our audience too much, Sailor. But yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Bitcoin is, it was a necessary product. I just think that as the market cycle continues, as this asset class grows, Bitcoin is going to be less and less of the market, just because other technology is going to be, just like the first stock that was out there, was all the market. You know what I mean? But after a while, of course, it's going to be less and less of the market. So I think that's just naturally going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's still always going to have a very strong role in store of value, though.
Right.
And I witnessed over the next 2 months as companies begin reporting their earnings and holdings. I think we're going to find that many of the largest corporations in the world have been shifting this summer into Bitcoin. And those announcements will be eye-opening to the rest of the markets.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're definitely right. People that it's just a fascinating occurrence of events that is just going to continue for many years. So we are going to keep trying to keep you guys educated, but you got to take it upon yourself to learn this stuff on your own, like we said. So, yeah. Okay, so let's move on to something near and dear to your heart, NFTs. You paying attention to those right now?
You know, I am, but I'm not. It's
Same.
This cryptocurrency market is so huge and so, I mean, I could spend 24 hours a day and not even keep up with everything except NFTs.
Yeah. No, it's true. I know it's true. But well, here's just an article about Ethereum's most surprising use case, Vitalik says, is NFTs. And he just goes on about what's going on with NFTs. And I got a quick video that we're going to share with you guys about just it's more of the same with these. And I'll just have you listen to it real quick. Here we go.
Are you guys doing anything in NFTs? I saw that you sold an NFT to Von Miller by accident.
Yeah, that was such a funny story.
Tell us the story real quick and then talk NFTs.
So like a year ago, I complained on Twitter that no one ever sends me nice, comfy startup T-shirts. Like I think I have 50 T-shirts from startups. I'm sure you guys too. And OpenSea sent me a T-shirt, and they sent me a card with a T-shirt, and the card had it was clearly a private key scribbled on it. And I took one look at it. I put it into MetaMask. I'm like, wow, this is the ugliest NFT I've ever seen. It was like a bunch of lines, like red and green and white lines. Didn't really make any sense to me. I'm like, what is this? Not. It was not. I appreciated the gesture, and it was a great T-shirt. But I thought it was a totally weird NFT, and so I forgot about it. Actually, I put it on my fridge. And then a year later, I got a DM from Dan at OpenSea. He's like, Nick, the floor price on this thing is like 8 ETH. I'm like, what? What do you mean? He's like, the NFT I sent you, like, you need to sell that. And I'm like, okay. And I go back on OpenSea, and like, sure enough, my like ugly NFTs, like, I think it was a color glyph, and it was trading. These things were trading like 8 to 10 ETH, and it was like 25 grand. And so I like listed it, and then I saw that someone on OpenSea with the name Von Miller bought it. I'm like, well, that's obviously not Von Miller from and I'm like, I'm a fan of Von Miller, like great player. I'm like, there's no way he's speculating on NFTs. And then
under his own name,
his account on OpenSea tied with his own name. Yeah. The next day, my friend sends me an Instagram post from the Von Miller where he's bragging about the NFTs that he bought.
And yours is in there.
Mine is the fifth one. And he's proud of this NFT. And like, I've immensely conflicted feelings about this, because now the floor price on these things is like 3 times higher. It's like very material. It's like 20 ETH now. Because Vaughn bought it, and everyone's okay, I gotta get my hands on one of these. So I basically should not have sold it to him. I should have just sat on my freaking NFT. But yeah, I do have the honor of having sold an NFT to Von Miller.
So, yeah, I don't know what the heck a color glyph is, but apparently they're rocking and rolling right now.
I don't know. Yeah, these NFTs are really, a lot of them are so bizarre, and just, like Cyberpunks just got listed yesterday with United Artists Technology or whatever. It's like the union, or it's an agency for actors, and they have signed a contract with Cyberpunks to represent them in all movies, broadcasts, and all media.
That is amazing. Yeah, I heard the NFT markets. What did I hear? These exchanges are blowing away anything that like Sotheby's can do, and they're charging like 1 to 2% versus the 25% that you get charged at an auction house.
Yeah,
and they're also realizing, like with art, you're much more inclusive now with blockchain and NFTs. It's much more, people of color, Hispanics, You know, the whereas you go to the normal auction houses, it's all white. Everyone's white that are these artists that are really making the big money, you know? So
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah, it's
changer.
colorblind. It's you don't know where they came from. It creates a level playing field. It's really beautiful.
That is what's so exciting about this whole space to me, is truly leveling the playing field. And the U.S. is going to have to keep up. You know, we're going to be okay, but these other countries are finally going to have real currency, and it's so cool to watch because it's not right. I mean, I'm all about America and God bless America, all that stuff, but really though, we shouldn't have everything and everyone else gets held down under our thumb. That's just not right. It's just not to me. So I don't know.
Well, you know what? Yeah, and it's not even under our thumb. It's under the central banking system's thumb.
Right.
It's not the American people.
Right. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, it's
We're
a
just
central banking system.
Yeah, we're just the catalyst or the cattle that allows them to do what they can do.
Exactly, and that's what's got to change, and that's why bringing it home to this SEC case and why I let off with Gensler, because they are so corrupt. It's just ridiculous, and this thing is over. I mean, it's just some kind of weird timing thing. They're going to figure out what the settlement is, but there's no way it's going to trial. What they'll do going to trial is they'll screw up them being able to go after other cryptos, and that wrecks the whole SEC. They have to do that because that's how they make money.
Mm-hmm.
It's how they justify their existence.
Yeah, and speaking about other countries using cryptocurrency as money, El Salvador in the next week is going live with everybody being able to accept and use Bitcoin as legal tender. And there's actually protests going on. There's a lot of people in El Salvador who obviously don't even understand it and have no idea how freeing it's going to be for them. Or else, you know, they could be just getting paid by the establishment to cause problems.
Yeah, so check this article out. I saw this. I want to just bring this up. Anti-Bitcoin law activists arrested in El Salvador. So these are people that are against this Bitcoin law, and now they're being arrested by the El Salvador government. So
it's just like a total change of the guard.
Yes, because you know what? El Salvador wants to have real money. How dare they? You know?
No, they want to be free and not be under the thumb
of the IMF, man. And this is given the IMF fits. I also heard of another country in middle Europe that the head of the country came out today and said, instead of leaving the country for these low-paying jobs, just start mining Bitcoin. I was looking for the article. I heard it from some YouTuber. I think it might have been Tony from Thinking Crypto, to give him some props. But I could not believe that. I mean, they're actually recommending, don't leave, just stay here and mine Bitcoin.
Yeah. Like I've said a whole bunch of times, that if you don't get involved and don't start learning and listening and understanding what's going on, you're not going to have the eyes to see. And the rest of the world, there's a lot of people in the world that they've been paying attention, and they are arising that they can take to become free.
Yeah. Yeah, and now it's spreading like a virus to the other countries, where all these little countries that don't have a space out there because they don't have a huge economy, now they're like, you mean we can have real money too, instead of having to rely on the IMF, and then the IMF totally runs us? All these central banks just run our country. So, yeah, it's... let me just read this up for a second here. Police in El Salvador today arrested without charge, they arrested them. So basically just to send a statement. Cryptocurrency and computer systems specialist Mario Gomez, a vocal critic of the country's newly passed Bitcoin law, according to local reports. So, El Salvador's controversial Bitcoin law, spearheaded by President Nayib Bukele, makes Bitcoin legal tender in the country on par with the U.S. dollar and compels most merchants to accept it as payment. Gomez, the founder of tech incubator Hackerspace, is among the high-profile Salvadorians who have spoken out against the new law's implementation. It's interesting that he's speaking out against it. I don't really get that, but...
Well, somebody's got to do it, and he's the one that they're, the central banks, I'm sure, are funding to do that.
That's exactly it, right? He's getting his pockets lined to do it.
Oh, he's going to be a billionaire.
Yeah, exactly. If he lives.
Yeah. I think they should make Bitcoin completely illegal. Shut it down. Shut down all the mining operations around the world.
Yeah, and he's a total miner. That is just, it's unbelievable. Yeah, and this really changes everything for the IMF. Because basically the law is once one country accepts it like this, the IMF has to now accept it as legal tender, I think is basically what it comes down to. So it's a problem, guys.
So you know, Eddie, you're busted for eating on the microphone.
Hey, we lost you, man. What's going on? You there?
I said, just so you know, you're busted for eating on the microphone.
Oh, I just had some ice from a drink. I knew you were going to catch me on that. Sorry. All right, no more of that. Okay, so what else do we got here? Hold on a second. Okay, so we got, now the next thing that was kind of interesting is Circle plans to become a full reserve national digital currency bank. So that's kind of interesting. Goldman Sachs backed digital payment company Circle has officially disclosed plans to become a full reserve national digital currency bank in the United States. Announcing the news on Monday, Circle co-founder and CEO Jeremy Allaire noted that Circle is willing to operate under the supervision and risk management requirements, in other words, being fully centralized, of the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Treasury, and the Office of Comptroller of Currency, and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting what's going on with the decentralization versus centralization. So, and
yep, that's the battle that we're going to face.
Yep. And that's what Gensler basically talked about in his little speech to the EU. It's all about, going after exchanges and lending facilities. So DeFi. That's what's going down now.
Going after anybody who competes with the banks.
Yep. And that's why Binance is going through everything, because they're not one of the big boys, man. And it's like, what's going to happen? Are they going to get bought? I bet Binance gets bought by like maybe Goldman Sachs or JPM.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs.
Yeah. So.
Or Soros.
Right. So that's coming. Anyways, so one interesting, so that guy that Pomp had on, he had him on a different interview that caught my eye, and it's about Ethereum. So I want you guys to listen to this, because Ethereum is Ethereum, and it's on a tear. It's almost back up to all-time highs, right? Which was like 4,100 or something. But I'm telling you, man, their tech, it's suspect. And my understanding is, too, from a few different sources I've heard, the fees have only actually gone up since they did this this new rollout. So let's listen to this real quick.
Yeah, I think that has to do with the huge number of transactions with the NFTs.
Yeah, you're right, probably. But in the end, it comes down to scalability. As this thing scales, it's not going to be cheaper. Like, they can't do NFTs for, $5, let's say. I don't think you can do it on Ethereum. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to find out, but let's listen to this real quick.
Ethereum has this new update, right, in terms of the monetary policy and the burning mechanism, etc. What is your understanding or kind of read as to positive, negative? Are you neutral? How do you think this affects Ethereum moving forward?
So I got completely savage day one on Twitter when I talked about EIP 1559 actually increasing fee levels. Apparently that was something that had been forecasted, so people didn't like that I pointed that out.
Was it right?
Yeah. So like fees on Ethereum are like, I would say, structurally higher now. Mm-hmm. And really what EIP 1559 did was cut out the floor in terms of fees. So when you'd have periods on Ethereum of downtime where it would get pretty cheap to transact, the new EIP kind of just eliminated that and set like a higher threshold, minimum threshold to sort of transact. I'm vastly oversimplifying. But generally my read is that it's sort of consistently like pretty pricey to transact. Of course, you got, the Ethereum community got this great thing in return, which is burning a significant share of all the fees that, would be paid to miners. Miners are making as much revenue now as they were before. And also, I think a majority of those fees are being burned. Mm-hmm. So think about what that means from a user perspective. So that's good and bad. On the one hand, you can make this argument, hey, if we actually reduce the issuance, Ethereum can become deflationary from a monetary perspective. It's a great story to tell investors. The negative thing, and this is something I try to communicate, and I'm trying to be fair and balanced here, is it's a form of rent extraction, right? So initially the miners, all of the fees were going to pay miners for their service of keeping the block space linear and, doing the thing that miners do. Now, a good portion of the fees associated with using Ethereum just go to effectively juicing the price of Ethereum, right? By, potentially reducing the supply. And so that really benefits token holders at the expense of users of the blockchain. Now, a lot of Ethereums will say to me like, oh, well, token holders are users, so it's all the same thing. But if you expect Ethereum to mature, and you have a lot of firms that hold Ethereum just for working capital perspective, just to utilize the blockchain, transact on it, without wanting to have financial exposure to Ether, those firms are going to feel disempowered because, the Ethereum governance process increased the costs of using Ethereum and funneled that sort of return into the token price. And so now what you have, thanks to the CIP, is like these two groups, these stakeholder groups are at odds with each other. People that are long-term, effectively speculators, not to use that pejoratively, on the token price. And then people, and I think this is the most important demographic that you want to sort of curry favor with, you want to sort of coddle them, is the people that use and hold Ethereum as working capital. But that latter group is a little disempowered by the change, in my view. So that's, I was certainly not known to be like, deeply part of the Ethereum community. So this wasn't received very well when I said it.
When you
Thoughts, Crash?
Well, Ethereum is a very complex system, and they've had a lot of, they have different levels, all these different fixes to try to improve things, and it gets complicated, and that may be one of their downfalls going forward. I think we've talked about that.
Yeah, I never heard it put quite like this. So that's why I wanted to kind of bring it out there. It's interesting, and I'm telling you, man, Flair Network is going to be massive. It is going to be absolutely, because it can scale. It's been built to scale for volume. Mm-hmm. And, I think it's just going to be, it's a waiting game for it to even come out. But
yeah, I know. I forgot about the Flair Network. I haven't heard much about it lately, and it's, you look at the top 20 cryptocurrencies, and how many of those are actually part of the Flair network? Are any of them? Well, yes, because I mean, Litecoin's going to be part of it. Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin.
Doge.
I don't know if Doge, yeah. Well, XRP, obviously.
Yeah.
Is Cardano part of it yet?
They talked about it, and you know what's interesting about Cardano is I heard from who was it? I think Chico Crypto broke down Cardano, and he's real biased. I mean, they literally put him up in like there was going to be a physical fight between him and Charles Hoskinson. Like people set up like them in the ring, literally.
Yeah.
So he hates the guy, but he was just saying that their smart contracts that they're supposedly coming out with here are like very minimal. Like you can do very minimal, simplistic. They're basically 2 years away from having true like usable smart contracts. So I don't know what to believe exactly, but I think that might be true. But there's gonna be so much demand for all of them just because of the way the world's going. So I don't think it's going anywhere except for up for the most part. You know, minus corrections here and there. You know. But so we'll see what happens. All right, Crash. Let's. You got anything else urgent you want to talk about?
No, I got to catch a flight. I think we need to wrap it up.
Let's do this, people. Hit the like and subscribe. Don't forget to do the right thing and leave us a doggone comment. Tell your friends and family about this show and all that other good stuff.
Yep. We'll try to start producing more programming here going forward.
Yeah, as long as you guys are digging it, we'll do it. And we did pick up some more subs on the way, which is kind of odd, and I don't think we have any illegal things in this video, so I think we should be good to go. Our last couple got hit a little bit, so we're learning the ropes here, people, minus some technical difficulties.
Okay, over and out. Everybody enjoy your day and live in the present.
Do the right thing. See ya. Oh, Crash. We just cannot get this under a half hour, can we? No can do.
Oh, I know. It was like a half an hour ago. I was like, okay, wrap it up.